Good afternoon, teacher and classmates. Laura, Manuel, and I, Jason, are going to talk to you about the process of obtaining bean oil. In the production of a bean oil, which contains 13% by weight of oil and the resin solids, the seeds are ground and fed to an extractor tank together with a recirculating stream of liquid hexane. The feeding ratio is 3 kg of hexane, 4 kg of beans. The ground seeds are suspended in the liquid and almost all of the oil is extracted with hexane. The effluent from the extractor passes to a filter. The filtered cake contains 75% by weight of bean solids and the rest of seeds, oil and hexane. The latter two in the same proportion and they emerge from the extractor. The filtered cake is discarded and the liquid filtrate is fed to a heated evaporator, in which the hexane vaporizes and the oil remains liquid. It should be noted that the hexane vapor is cooled and recirculated. According to the above, calculate the yield obtained from bean oil, the necessary feeding of fresh hexane, and its relationship with respect to the feed beans. Also determines the proportion between recirculation and fresh feeding. In the flowchart, we are going to calc the strings with a letter F and a number. In the flowchart, we observe the strings that interact in the process. We call the main feed F1, which passes through a mixing point, where it's mixed with hexane before entering the extractor, when another feed F6, which is bean and is composed of oil and solids, also enters. A new stream comes out of the extractor that we call F3, which is composed of hexane, oil and solids, that passes to a filter where the filtered cake that is composed of solid F7 is discarded and the liquid filtrate F4 enters an evaporator. Hexane leaves the evaporator in the form of gas, F5, which recirculates to the mixing point and we obtain F8 as the final oil output.
In this system, we are in the presence of several processes unites. As always, what worries as the most is where to start. It is clear that in the statement we have the compositions of some streams. Useful data that way about the determination of nodes. However, these compositions are not a word in the filter, evaporator or mixing point. However, we know the feed rate to the process. The feed rate is 3 kilograms of hazing divided kilograms of beans. On the other hand, the value of any code is known, which allows it shows a calculation base and knowing the information. Proportions the most sensible thing to do is choose card if 2. or if this as the calculation base, we choose as base of calculation of this is equal to 100 kilograms of beans, which is equivalent to 13 kilograms of oils and 87 kilograms of solids. After choosing our calculation, but we will make the balance for each of the curves extractor balance. If 2 is equal to 3 of hazing over kilograms of beans, this is your feeding ratio. We multiply it by our calculation base. We obtain to the value of if 2, which is 300 kilograms of hazing. Then we make the balance of the extractor, that is everything that enters is equals to everything that lives. If 2 plus hazes, if 300 plus 100 equals 400 kilograms. As we count the value of 300 amounts of oil, solids and hazing that enter the extractor, we can determine in what proportion these components are in the stream. If 3. For the solids, 87 divided by 400 is equals to 0.2175. For hazing, 300 divided by 400 equals 0.75. For oil, it is 13 divided by 400, it is equals to 0.0325. An important proportion is that which exists only between hazing and oil. Next, we say the calculation for hazing and oil. Then we do the filter balance, where we have 3 unknowns. To determine the value of if 4 and if 7, it is necessary to the stock of some of the species present in the filter. We will handle take the hazing. Remember that the 2 streams that come out the filter contain hazing. A filter can be treated as separation point starting from this premise in caveat state that the relation between hazing and oil in the same is if 3, if 4, and if 7.
We simultaneously solve the equations obtained by the sum balance and the global balance in the filter. Gives us a result. It for saying 283,99 kilograms. If 7 saying 116,01 kilograms. Remember well the filter works and also what the statement tells us. The filter can contains 75% by weight of bean solids and the rest of say oil and hexane, the latter two in the same proportion as the merge through the extractor. We carry on the balance in the evaporator. The balance in the evaporator is very simple. It for sandwich in the stream that comes out of the filter, separates into the sand that is recirculated, and the oil, a product of the process. Replacing the data in the equation gives on the result. It had saying 283,99 kilograms. They weigh carry on the global balance. It fight saying it for less it hate, replacing the data returns. It fight saying 272,2 kilograms, recycled hexane. We seek balance and the missing point. By solving and replacing the equation, we see that the missing point is from recirculation. This is the result. If one saying 27,8 kilograms of fresh food, note how the recurrent way proceed to determine the relationships that indicate us in the problem. If saying problem performance, we solve the performance is if saying if height over if seeds. When replacing the data, we have as a result if saying 0,1201 179 kilograms of the oil over kilograms of the beans. We find the ratio between fresh and bit feed. D saying if 1 over if seeds. Replacing data and solving gave us a result. D saying 0,1278 kilograms of fresh food over kilograms of beans. Then Y fit the relation between recirculator and fresh feed. He saying if 5 over is 1, we replace the data and solve it to get us a result. He saying 9,79 kilograms of hexane recirculate on kilograms of fresh feed.